continuing with Raw for a little bit longer, we had a main event segment this week, which was Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. And there have been some theories over the past couple of weeks, once this match was made official or looked like it was going to be made official. People have speculated about Seth Rollins teaming up with Paul Heyman. And for the most part, I still think that's kind of crazy. I don't see it happening. However, this segment definitely fed into that idea. Like, if this segment didn't happen, I would still say you guys are insane. It's not happening. There's been nothing to show us like why this could happen. I still don't think that there's a good chance, but this was an interesting moment between Seth and Paul, and it's because they're both so good at their job. And Paul
Very
is
good.
so good with the facial expressions and like getting emotional and looking like he's legitimately taking in and thinking about what Seth is saying to him. So this is just another added layer to this match that I think it needed, because it feels like everything was just between Punk and Roman. It looked like Seth, like, why is Seth there? But this adds like an extra bit to it where you're like, okay, wait, I'm gonna have to watch for Seth because something fishy is happening here, and I am excited about it.
What do you think of Seth throwing or filling Paul Heyman's head with like nonsense thoughts, like you were getting beat up by the new bloodline, and where was Roman to come save you? Roman wasn't there for you. I love that. I'm a huge fan of that little manipulation, mind game shit. That's what Seth needs to be doing to add more to this and add his side into this triple threat where it connects. Not only, I mean, it connects to all three of them, and it also adds the side, like, technically Seth is vouching for his sworn enemy, CM Punk, by doing that, by filling Paul's head with these thoughts.
Yeah.
That just shows you the deep-rooted hatred that these two have from the Shield breaking up.
Yeah, so I think this is something that needed to happen, even if I don't love, that like Roman hasn't been there every week or whatever. Obviously, Punk does come out at the end of this, and because Seth chooses not to curb stomp Paul, he tells him that now he owes him a favor. No matter how we feel about that, because that was quite controversial online. Again, an interesting element that now we have to think about and we have to consider. And that's why I threw out on Twitter the real life, part of this is Paul Heyman said that after Roman Reigns, he was not going to work with anybody else. So I understand that Paul could be lying. He could be just in character when he said it. We don't know, but that's why it makes me unconvinced that we're going to see something between Seth and Paul. I also don't think Seth needs it, honestly. Like, I don't think he needs to be partnered up with Paul. I think he would have been a fantastic Paul Heyman guy.
That's really I agree with that. He would have been a really good Paul Heyman guy. The problem is that at this stage, it feels forced just to make a turn. Like, it just feels like you're doing it for the shock value and not because you have a plan moving forward.
Yeah, like if he didn't work with Brock for all those years and maybe worked with Seth instead, like back then, that I think would have been phenomenal. But obviously we can't go in the past. We can't change that. I don't know what Paul does after this. I don't know if he goes back to Punk, if he goes back to Roman. I don't know, but I don't see it being Seth. I don't see a path for that to make that much sense.
If anything, I see Punk. I see him following Punk for a little bit.
Well, and the way he talks about Punk.
That's his guy. That's his guy.
Yeah. That is his best friend.